Hey, what's up, rock stars? It's Rox coming to you today with a review for Love and Marriage Detroit, Season 1, Episode 2. So let's get to it, shall we? All right, you guys, so the show opens. They're still out at the lavender fields. And remember, this is when Christina finally found out that Brandon was keeping the secret of the new artist, which is the new girl. What her name is, Nija, I believe. She said that it was an unexpected happening at the table. Nicole is sitting over there like, excuse me for saying something to this girl. I would have just assumed that her husband would have told her this. Kobe's like, it ain't my fault that the nigga keeping secrets. And the Russell is over there like, baby, what you need to do is get out they business and keep your business over here with us. Okay? But Kobe's whole thing was like, she didn't even realize it was anybody's business. I mean, what's the big deal? Why hasn't he said anything? So Christina's so upset. She is just upset, crying. You know, Brandon had then walked off. Latoya is over there like, I agree with Kobe. It's not her fault that Brandon didn't say anything. She feels like it's because Brandon is lying. That's the bigger issue here that everybody seems to be missing. So Brandon is feeling bad. He said the funny thing is Brandon is one way with us in the confessionals, but when he's talking to Christina face to face, he's totally different. Gaslighting, making her feel like she's the problem. She's the one that does everything, because he was just like, I got to try to make things better. But then he tells her that she shoots down 90% of all the things that he comes to her with, and that's the reason why he don't say anything. Nigga, you couldn't say, I'm sorry, baby. Let me try to make this up to you. Let's make this day. No. Okay. He says that 90% of the shit that he does, she shoots it down. So he done flipped it around on her. It's the Jedi mind trick, y'all. You should be able to see these things by now. And now he's mad that Colby has gotten her so upset. Okay, so now as far as Brandon is concerned, it's on Colby. And Colby's big mouth. I mean, Colby could have just kept it to herself, but we all know that this is just the fact that Brandon has lied. If he wouldn't have lied to his wife or kept that secret, then it wouldn't even be a problem right now. So he was just like, I'm sorry, I should have ran it by you. Just because she's never been the most supportive since what happened. And she was like, is that the person that was at the studio when I called you the other day? And he was just like, yeah. Okay. Right then, I would have been like, oh, nigga, so you all defensive and acting a fool when I called? Obviously, you got something going with this person, the way you rushed me off the phone and made it seem like I was bothering you. But he was just like, yeah, that was her. And then she was just like, I just don't like that. You felt like you needed to lie to me about this. And you need to get it together. So Brandon, I guess, agrees that he needs to get it together. But Brandon is, we ain't gonna like Brandon, y'all, I can tell you. Christina's kind of annoying as well, but Christina has a reason of being annoying. It's because she's been through so much with Brandon. I think they're making a big deal out of this one case, but the way that she's acting, it feels like this has happened numerous times with Brandon messing around with, other women. So that is why Christina is going to be naggy to Brandon all the time. Brandon tells us that, Christina does have some healing to do. So he's going to make sure that he's there for her, because neither one of them are going anywhere. So, I mean, I guess him salvaging the night. They had a band out there. The three couples get up and they do a little dance together. But Russell's irritated with Colby for saying what she said. And Christina and Brandon are on the outs and all that. So yeah, the evening was kind of ruined. Now Colby, later on we see Colby over at her house with her husband Russell, and they are DIYers. They like to work on their house together. Russell likes to do that, kind of keeps them close. While they're doing this accent wall in the bedroom, they're talking about what happened out at the lavender fields, and Colby is still feeling the exact same way. Like, how was I supposed to know that Christina didn't know? And Russell was like, but see, that's the whole thing. That's the reason why you shouldn't say anything. We was at an anniversary thing. You shouldn't have, that had nothing to do with the anniversary. But Kobe was like, well, how was I supposed to know shit? Kobe thought she was just making conversation. But then I don't think that Kobe just thought she was making conversation. I think Kobe realized that Brandon is out there doing something, and this was the best way to open Christina's eyes to it. She didn't want to flat out say, your man out there doing shit, or your man out there keeping secrets, But so this was the easier way for her to do it. She's not going to admit that. But she is like, she did it because, you know, Brandon don't tell Christina anything. So to me, that make it seem like she already knew that Christina didn't know, and she was bringing it to light. So in that way, she's being messy, because is that really your responsibility? Even if you felt like as a friend Christina needed to know that, maybe you could have told her when it was just you two together, okay, as opposed to blasting it at this anniversary dinner where everybody is supposed to be talking about love and being together for 8 years and all of this, and then you come doing that, you know. So I mean, I'm not blaming Colby, but she was obviously trying to let Christina know in a little bit of a messy way. And so she said, you know, she felt like she could have handled it differently, but she doesn't think there should be any secrets in marriage. Okay, well, but worry about your marriage is all I'm saying. Just worry about you and Russell, because you and Russell got your own shit. Last week, I didn't want to say it because I was feeling it, but I was like, let me just sit it out and see. Something about Russell telling me that the bread man don't have all of the crayons ain't in the box. and if they all in the box, baby, some of them is broken up, child. Because I'm just like, what does Russell seem like? He ain't really all the way the smartest. He for lack of better words, Russell kind of strikes me as he kind of dumb. Okay, is that fair? He ain't really said or did nothing to make it. It's just the things that I don't know, you guys. But anyway, so Russell starts to tell her, you know, some of the new things that he been thinking about. He said, yeah, baby, I've been thinking about it, and I'm going to have a career change, and I'm going to be an ordained minister. Okay, that's his calling. The Lord has called him to it. And she's just looking at him like, what? Okay, now remember last week they told us that they were both preachers' kids, and they both have had their experiences, and they based their lives on the experiences that they had as a preacher's kid. Colby don't want to be no first lady. She don't want to be no preacher's wife. You know, she don't want her kids to go through that, because she says, my neighbor, excuse me, because she says that, you know, that experience was just not something that she wants for her kids or for her life. Okay, she was just like, you know, I'm not gonna never tell you what you can't do, especially if you saying the Lord called you to it and everything, then that's what you gotta do. However, that ain't the life that she planned on. Okay, he was just like, my dad gonna mentor me, you know, he got the whole thing set up. She was just like, but that's not just really not what I wanted. So, you know, it's gonna take some time. They're gonna have conversations about this and all of that. Okay, give her a little bit of time to get acclimated to it. What else? This nigga gonna say he also about to buy a gym because he like to work out in there. It's like, what is wrong with Russell? This nigga is stupid. He gonna have a church. He buying a gym. I mean, none of this is impossible. I'm not saying that, but I'm just like, what we on? What time we on today? Because you telling your wife that you're gonna be a preacher and you buying a gym. Like, why y'all doing this DIY project at the house all willy-nilly like it ain't no big deal? Like, these are two major decisions. You just came up with them. So she is looking at him like, you opening a gym. And he was just like, you know, you need to not be so upset about the things that I'm telling you. And she was just like, where is all this coming from? She started fussing at him. He telling her she need to calm down. You need to stop it, you know. And she was just like, what is all this you doing? He telling her the Bible say that he a man, he got to provide for the family, this, that, and the other. And that means that she's supposed to, you know, support him and what he trying to do. All right, are we going to be at the gym or we going to be at church? Let's just do one for right now. Can we just do one for right now? Okay. But yeah, Russell, I think, is going to have us laughing this whole season. Because, yeah, Russell just seemed like, you know, 2 + 2 = 6. Now, jumping back over to Brandon and Christina. So they just bought just moved into a new penthouse in New Detroit. I was just like, oh, so there's an old Detroit and New Detroit. Y'all gonna have to put me up on it. I didn't know. I said, that sounds like this new shit that they got for LA. LA used to just be LA. Now we got Crenshaw. I mean, Crenshaw district was, but now they got all of these strange little districts within the city that they didn't have none of when I was living there. So I was just like, what is all this? They live in Crenshaw. Crenshaw is not an inn. Crenshaw is a place, which is the street, you know? But anyway, yeah, so maybe that's the whole thing that they going through with Detroit, old Detroit, new Detroit. They live in New Detroit. Christina says she leaning on God to make this situation better between her and her husband. But you know, she's just kind of blown from all of the antics that happened the day before. Because Christina's just like, what's the big deal? He's got this new artist. Who is the new artist? Why is it all a secret? I'm thinking to myself, like, I know this is a TV show and you guys have to build the storyline and all of this, but common sense would be like, who is the lady? That would have been my first question. Who is this girl? As a matter of fact, let me go see her, because you being this secretive about it, what is it exactly that I'm missing? So maybe we all need to have a fucking meeting. He was just like, you know, he met this girl and, you know, she was a diamond in the rough and he just wants to hone her talent. And she was like, I mean, I understand all that. And he says, and the problem is Kobe, you know, she couldn't wait to tell you what she said. She said, oh, don't talk about Kobe. She was like, yeah, she is. She couldn't wait to tell you she a mean girl. Okay, she be swagger jacking the things that you trying to do. And she was just like, that is not true. And he was like, yes, she do. I'll be watching her. She be watching what you doing and she go and do the thing. I mean, you about to have this sipping, was it a sipping paint? He was like, you about to have this sip and paint, and, you know, then you turn around and now she doing a sip and paint. He was like, you better watch her. And she was just like, I mean, I don't really care about that. You know, I'm an influencer, so I influence people to do things, you know. But he was just like, oh, you better keep your eye on Kobe. No, we need to keep our damn eye on you, Brandon. Don't try to push this off on Kobe. Now, later on, Brandon goes to this club, and it's his homeboy Bravo's club, okay? And like I told y'all last week, Brandon strikes me as that type of person that don't really have no connections, but then he got to make sure he meet the right people so that they can put him in place, okay? And so, like, that's the epitome of a hustler that's always trying to find the next person to get them to the next level. So Brandon is a hustler, basically. He's not as established as Russell, even though Russell looked like he about to be all over the place, and Anthony. He actually needs Anthony to help him with his business. So anyway, he's down there at the club meeting Bravo, and he has Anthony and Russell meet him down there as well. Brandon tells us that Christina doesn't feel like, you know, Christian men should be in a club. Okay, I'm considering, I guess he's Christian. Well, we know Russell is Christian. He's about to be a minister, he say. And Anthony, you know, Anthony was just like, I don't understand why you got to answer to Christina like that. Why you got all these restrictions on your life? But whatever. He tells Russell that he owes Brandon an apology. You know, Russell was like, I do apologize. You know, I didn't know that Kobe was going to go running her mouth to Christina. He said, Kobe did feel bad. I said, no, she didn't. Kobe told you flat out that she didn't feel bad for saying what she said because Christina needed to know. Brandon was like, it was just weird for her to bring it up at the anniversary thing anyway. Well, that's what Russell was saying. You know, Bravo was like, so you got to ask Christina for permission to do things now? You know, new artists signing contracts and all that. Well, the thing is, he hadn't told Christina. Now, while they sitting there talking, Christina calls, and he was like, shit, you know, he didn't tell Christina that he was coming up there to the club. So he gets on the phone, and he's like, hey, and she was just like, well, you must be doing something, watching some booty shaking or something. Let me tell you something. Why I say Christina's gonna be kind of annoying and on our nerves, even though she has good reason to be that way. But when you are a spouse, either a husband or a wife, if you guys have problems with your infidelity, somebody cheated, somebody got caught, or somebody admitted it, okay, there's two things that you can do. You can either work it out, fight hard for your marriage, you know, build the trust all over again. I mean, that's very hard, but some people do it. Or you can break up, okay? Then there's this third very annoying place to be, which is, we not gonna break up, but now I'm not gonna trust nothing else that you do, and I am gonna spend my days worrying about what the hell you doing. I cannot, as a grown woman, be worrying about what a grown man is doing all the fucking day. If I have to be in a relationship with somebody where I feel like I need to be trying to check everything that they doing, then we don't need to be together, because I'm miserable because I can't even relax good because I'm worried what the fuck my husband is doing every time he's out of my sight. Who has that kind of energy? This girl been doing this for 8 years. They're not gonna survive this show. I promise you. And I don't be wanting marriages to break up and shit, but Brandon and Christina are at the end. They are not gonna make it because the reality show is gonna put so much pressure on them. He already looks really bad, but then she's always worrying about where he is and where he going. And I was just like, girl, you are never gonna have no peace. Like, that is not what a marriage should be. See, that's the problem when trust is broken. It's hard to get trust back. If once my trust is broken to somebody, I don't trust you no more. You know, that's a natural reaction. So trying to get back to that spot where you were is going to be really hard. Obviously, Christina's having a hard time getting to that spot, and it's because Brandon is still sitting up here lying and shit to her. You know, he feels like for whatever reason that he still needs to lie to her, and that is a red flag, because if you still... You know, you shouldn't be lying to your wife. You can't go to meet with your boys at the club for a few, you know, does she think that you so out of control that any woman that you come across at a club or anywhere else, you gonna fuck with them, you know? So I'm just like, Brandon, you trying to be with this woman, but you still are giving her the reason to feel this way. It's a cycle. Y'all need counseling or something. But I'm telling you, their marriage is going to suffer heavy under this. I don't think they're gonna make it, y'all. Because, you know, when she was just like, you know, when they were talking and she was like, is that Bravo I hear in the background? Well, she know Bravo has the club. It's just like, no, babe, we just sitting here talking. We talking business. Anthony don't understand none of this. He was like, why are you lying to her about something that you didn't even do? Like, you lying about what, the new artist, but you ain't messing, you know, like the guys are just like, what's the history? Because why the girl feel like all this? Why we got to be going through all of this? So, you know, she's there, she's on the phone, she's fussing at him, and, you know, she tells him that she's bored. So she trying to figure out what Russell was just like, you know, caveman. If Kobe called me and told me that she was bored, I would think that meant she want to make a baby. So I'm gonna go home and... That's all Russell over there thinking about, is having this child, I'm telling you. Anyway, as far as the fellas trip, is it off? Nope, it's not off. And it sounds like they're trying to get the showcase together for the men's trip. Is that what they were saying? Or did they just bring up that showcase at the same time? So apparently, remember I told you, Brandon needs Anthony. So, and Anthony works for Live Nation. So Brandon and Anthony and Bravo have been trying to get this showcase together and show off the new artists and, you know, all of that. So, you know, Christina should be good with that. It's not a club. It's actually a showcase and showing the talent of the artist. But again, the history. What's this history? It was just like, well, I mean, you know, it was just a rocky time. I had one foot out the door. You know, I just was like, this marriage is too hard. He ain't gonna make it. He's messing around with this other girl. Well, let him tell it. They didn't get physical. He said that they just was emotionally having some sort of affair. He would text her or send her messages, emails, or whatever. And apparently he left his laptop open one day, and Christina went through the laptop and saw all the messages and was hurt. Anthony was like, nigga, and you still in the house? You better be glad you still there, because honey, Dr. LaToya would have kicked my ass out of that house. And he was just like, well, I mean, it did hit the fan. I had to drop the artist, and I had to do this, that, and the other to fight for my marriage and all. Went to counseling and all that. I was just like, Brandon and Christina is a bona fide mess. And that's going to be all season. I don't think that their marriage is going to make it. You guys tell me what you think about that, but not because we can't just keep on with this. Now we see Kobe and Christina, they meet out. Kobe says she invited Christina out because of the anniversary dinner. She felt bad about bringing up the new artist. She shouldn't have had to deal with that on her anniversary. But you know what? She does stand firm on her husband should have told her what was going on. And Christina was just like, you know what, it's okay. It's okay. I know you didn't try to make it be a mess like that. That's on Brandon. She was like, you know, Brandon just has this thing where he pours a lot of energy into his new artist, into just his artist and everything, more than he does for this family, for this marriage, for me. She had told her about how she had called him at the studio one night and he was tripping and all that. Turns out that that was the day that the new artist was up there, you know, and Kobe was just like, and he never told you? And she was like, no, he didn't tell me. And Kobe was just like, girl, you should be up there checking it out. I was just like, yeah, at this point I think I would be too. Well, no, I really wouldn't be there at all, because maybe when I was younger, I would have been feeling like I need to go and be checking and doing all of that shit. But as at my big grown 52 years old, listen, I ain't got time to be doing all of this. You know you married. And Christina was just like, yeah, she trying to figure the things out. So then Kobe tells her how Russell decided that he want to be a pastor. And she was just like, oh, really? She was like, I mean, I guess if the Lord call you, then the Lord call you. However, you know, Christina was like, couldn't be me. No, it surely wouldn't be you, Cuddy. Even though Brandon would clean up in the church, wouldn't he? So then Christina was just like, girl, you know, I know y'all preachers' kids. I'm a preacher's kid as well. And, you know, it was just, that's just a tough life. Turn around, the husband getting the preacher getting called in the middle of the night, somebody need him to come pray for him and all of that. I was like, she would say something like that, a man leaving in the middle of the night to go pray for somebody because her old cheating ass husband. There's way more things that a pastor does of a church than getting up in the middle of the night and going to go pray for some forlorn woman. So Kobe is saying, like, you know, she don't want to put her kids through this, especially if it's just something that Russell is going through at the time. And Christina's just talking about Brandon and the fact that the reason that they even are where they are is because of the stuff that Brandon has done. He obviously didn't tell her about the new artist because he didn't want Christina to get upset about it. But she was just like, the fact that he lies is the reason why we're here where we are now. Like I said, it's a vicious cycle, child. Now, jumping over to LaToya and Anthony. So, we get a little bit more information about this Atlanta thing that he was doing. So, apparently, Anthony, not only did he just tell her that he was going and then he left, he was gone for 8 months. That's a long-ass time, you know, and she was aggravated about it. He says that he didn't just spring it on her. He did tell her, and then he left. So he says she was mad, but he still had her blessing. She says that actually she did take him for granted. She said she didn't realize how much he does until he was gone. All right, so I mean, I guess that was a time of realization for both of them. Anyway, she's about to have this wine tasting event for their wine, Opulence. She said, did you invite the guys? And he was like, no, I didn't invite the guys. He said, I got some females coming, you know, because this is a wine tasting event. It's supposed to be luxurious. It's supposed to be sexy. It's supposed to be all of these things. So he wants the good-looking women to come. I said, you can have your good-looking men friend come too. He was like, no ooga boogers will be at his wine tasting event. Anyways, they start talking about the lavender fields and how Brandon hadn't told Christina. And, you know, she was just like, everybody mad at Kobe. She was like, I wasn't mad at Kobe. That was not on Kobe, that was on Brandon. Anthony said he was mad at Russell for even doing the pillow talking with his wife, but that is what happens, you know. She was just like, no, that's on Brandon. She want to know what the history is too. See, there still don't nobody know what this damn history is. So he was just like, well, you just nosy. And she was like, no, I'm not being nosy. I just want to know. She was like, it's the same thing, you know, very similar to like when you just decided to go to Atlanta. He was like, that is nowhere near the same. And she was just like, yes, it was. You left. And he was just like, yeah, but you know, you was mad, but I had your blessing. That Atlanta trip is a thorn in the side, right? I'm wondering what exactly else happened while he was down here in Atlanta. Now, the wine tasting event, the Opulence wine tasting. She's got her close friends and family there, you know, and it's gonna be, I've been to these wine tastings before. It's nice. You sit at a long table and you have this sheet and they let you taste all these different types of wines, and then you write on the sheet how you feel about the wine, and they have food and all of that. So this is the same setup that she has. She says she likes to just inform people, educate people on all of the good things about wine. Christina has invited her homegirl there, Chelsea, So anyway, you know, they all sit down at the table and Latoya's telling them everything that happened. You know, they pour the wine, they swish it around, they sniff it, they taste it, you know, they tell you what it pairs well with, all of the things, right? She tells them that they're going to be able to take a bottle home for themselves. I said, you got chocolate in the bottle there too? Bullshit. So anyway, while they're sitting there talking, you know, Brandon's kind of being facetious, like, oh, so this is a wine tasting place. It's like you sit down, you drink, you know, you have alcohol. And they were like, yeah, it's like, you know, you have wine. It's a wine bar. He said, so it's like a club. And they're like, no, it's not like a club. It's a bar. It's a wine bar. And he was just like, oh, okay, kind of making his point, like, why we can sit down in places like this. But first of all, Brandon, you can't sit down nowhere if you're going to be trying to cheat with all of the people. It don't matter what the hell we in. So I guess his point was, well, you know, you making a big deal about me being in the bar, but I was in the bar. But while he's sitting here talking about it, then Anthony says, this is the same thing I was talking about at the club the other night. And then he was like, oh shit, I did not mean to say that. I was just like, so Anthony, you trying to throw this boy under the bus. Like, it's too much throwing under the bus that's happening with this group of people. Everybody knows something on the other one, and then they sneak it out in conversations like this. So, you know, Russell said he didn't mean to do, not Russell. Anthony said he didn't mean to do that. And then Christina was just like, at the club. Again, we ain't got time to be sitting up here worried about where this nigga is 24/7. So then, you know, the men are like, oh my God, here we go again. And she was just like, I already told you I did not want you at no damn club. He was like, babe, we were there talking about business, looking at a venue. Like, we were looking at the venue. We were not trying to talk to these women. Because remember, while he was at the club and the lady came up to give the drink and she was like half dressed and he was like, I'm not even going to look. I said, nigga, you can't even control yourself long enough to not look at the damn waitress. Like, every woman that you see that might be scantily clad, you want to fuck them or something? Like, what is... You don't have any self-control over yourself? You got to be doing all of this? Like, I mean, how stupid is this? What is wrong with Brandon? So, you know, they're trying to make Christina feel crazy, tell her she's overreacting. Of course, Christina knows what Brandon is capable of. Christina knows what Brandon has done in the past. Christina's just like, I'm so sick of Anthony. Like, he's too vested. He's just way too vested. Cause like, why am I trying to have a conversation with him, with my husband, Brandon, and Anthony just keep on jumping in and having an opinion on it that she didn't ask for. So then the friend, Chelsea, was just like, well, let me just ask this. Why, Anthony, are you so passionate about what's going on with Brandon and Christina and what Brandon is doing over there? And Brandon and Anthony was just like, wait a minute, what? Who are you? Like, you don't even know me. I don't know you, little girl. Don't come up here talking to me like this, okay? Christina, you need to check your people. You know you a boss. You need to boss up. You don't need to be around people like her. She's a bird. Right then, I was just like, okay, I don't like those kind of men either. Because... you don't know me just like I don't know you. She just asked a fucking simple question of why do you even care as much, and you gonna sit here and call me a fucking bird? Nigga, fuck you. So she was just like, wait a minute, who do you think you talking to? And I was just like, yeah, I don't like men like that. She was just like, you must be on your cycle talking to me. You know, Latoya over there just eating her food, just kind of ain't even paying no attention. Well, she was listening, but she wasn't saying anything. And he was just like, lady, you don't know me. Like, he's the type that will go off on a woman. I can tell. Okay. Especially if he deems that he's more important than that person, that he's going to say shit like that to him to just make him like demean them. And I don't like those kind of people. He's probably pretty much a snob. Okay, and Rocky don't like snobs. I don't do snobs. So them two starts arguing. She was like, don't play with me. And he was like, don't play with me. And I was just like, yeah, Anthony is going to be that one that just So I done already kind of figured out where everybody is. Russell is the dumb one. Anthony is the one that's going to keep everything, all this, because he's like considers himself an alpha male. So he's got that. And then Brandon is just going to be the cheating man. You know, Christina's going to be the annoying wife. Colby is the one that I still don't have quite a beat on yet. Latoya seems like she's cool. But we gonna see, you guys. All right, you guys, let me get off of here. It is hot as fuck in this car. It's hot outside. It's hot in Georgia today, okay? Currently, it is 94 degrees. with a chance of rain. Maybe that'll cool it down. I don't know, but it's hot. Anyway, let me get off of here, you guys. Make sure that you thumbs up the video, comment, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I'm Roxanne. The channel is itsrox. Everything else I do will be in the bottom bar. All right. So I hope that you have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day. I plan on doing the same. Until next time, rock stars. Bye.